Hello, and welcome to A to Z Grant Writing Mini Lesson Number 2. I've uploaded a series of mini lessons on the A to Z Grant Writing website for you. You can upload them as many times as you like in any chronology that you like. Today we're going to go through the steps in requesting support and what types of grants will work for you. Let's get started. First, we're going to go through the letter of inquiry and the letter of request. The first thing that you send to a funding source is a letter of inquiry. It's 2 to 3 pages in length and begins with a sentence like, "The X organization wishes to thank the X Foundation for this opportunity to submit a letter of inquiry requesting a grant for X amount of dollars to support our XYZ program." A letter of inquiry is basically a letter of introduction with a suggested amount that the organization would like the funder to consider giving to the organization. Next is a letter of request, which is longer, 5 to 10 pages in length, and may state, "The X organization wishes to thank the X Foundation for this opportunity to request a grant for X amount of dollars to support the XYZ program." The difference between a letter of inquiry and a letter of request is that the letter of inquiry suggests an amount, and the letter of request actually states an amount that they would like to receive from the funding source, depending on their response to the organization. And finally, we have the full proposal package, which is just like the letter of request, but it has 5 to 20 pages. It's more detail, of course. So these are the steps that you take. First, you submit a letter of inquiry and wait for the response from the funder to see what they would like you to submit. And then you submit the letter of request or the full proposal package. Which types of grants will work for you? There's many. First, there's general fund, general operating, or unrestricted, which furthers the general work of an organization rather than a specific project. Building or renovation, which is constructing, renovating, remodeling, or rehabilitating property. Continuing support is renewed or annual on an annual basis. Request to funders who have supported your institution in the past. You do this on an annual basis where you go back to them again and again for the spring fundraising event or the fall fundraising events. Curriculum development grants for schools, colleges, universities, educational support organizations and institutions, and to develop general or discipline-specific curriculum. Emergency grants are one-time grants to cover immediate short-term funding needs on an emergency basis. Employee matching gifts are corporations that match gifts made by their employees to nonprofit organizations in the community. And endowment funds, which are kept permanently in a savings account by the organization to provide interest income for continued support. Restricted or special project grants are awarded for specific items or special projects. Restricted funds can only be spent on agreed-upon project costs between the funder and the organization. In-kind gifts of products, services, equipment, and supplies, and matching gifts or challenge. They're called challenge as well. Matched with funds provided by another funder or donor, and they may be matched with grant funds, in-kind support, individual donors, or volunteer time. Now, each funder will provide a different kind of support. They might provide restricted grants. They might provide matching grants. In this way, you know how to approach a funder and what kinds of funds to ask for. Perhaps you do have a $5,000 gift from an individual donor, so you would look for a matching grant from another funding source, a foundation or a corporation, to match that $5,000. Or you might have a specific project that you'd like to fund, and in that case, you'd be looking for a funding source that provides special project grants. So it's important to research what types of grants each funder provides. Program development grants support new projects and programs, planning and expansion, and seed funds for startup funds for new organizations. When you do your research, make sure that you look for startup funds or seed funds if you are a new organization. Well, it's a lot to go through in one day, but I hope it helped you get an understanding that many different funders provide many different kinds of grants. I also hope that you'll join me for the online course, which has much more detail about this topic.